Car tester Reinhold Deisenhofer asserts that if a family wants to drive cross-country, they should have the ability. The great success of models like the Passat Alltrack and the Audi Allroad made it only a matter of time before VW put out a Golf with all-wheel drive and off-road capabilities. And here it is, the new Golf Alltrack. Looking back, we see there has already been an all-wheel drive Golf, the Golf II Country in 1990, but at the time nobody wanted it. Now, 25 years later, given the SUV boom, it doesn't take a psychic to predict this attempt will sell far better. VW's new Golf for off-road driving follows the current trend. With flared side skirts, fake skid plates, and black trim, this station wagon certainly looks ready for the rough. The Alltrack also comes with 2 extra centimeters ground clearance, larger tires, and 4-motion all-wheel drive. The Haldex coupling prevents wheel spin. If the rear wheel starts spinning in uneven terrain, within seconds the force is shifted to the front wheels. Our car tester is amazed at what the Golf Alltrack can do off the road, normally what only full-fledged SUVs can manage. Off-road driving mode and the all-wheel drive distribute the force between the front and rear axles from 0 to 100%. That makes for perfect grip on snow, slush, ice, gravel, or sand. In the off-road driving mode, the car can really handle rough terrain and steep inclines. Driving down steep slopes can be nerve-wracking, but with the hill descent assist, the driver just has to work up the courage to let off the brakes. Only then can the engine management systems do their job properly. The range of diesel engines available is led by the one in our test car, the 135-kilowatt 2.0 TDI. It carries the Alltrack from 0 to 100 kilometers per hour in 7.8 seconds, reaching a maximum speed of 219 kilometers per hour. Volkswagen rates fuel consumption at an average of 5 liters per 100 kilometers. This model starts at 30,200 euros in Germany. VW's Alfred Metzov says the Passat Variant Alltrack has already shown that this concept works. The Variant Alltrack offers a genuine alternative to the SUV concepts, a vehicle with full off-road capabilities for people who don't necessarily want to drive an SUV, but would like to have the practicality and versatility of a station wagon. Thoroughly reworked to stress the ruggedness, the new Alltrack makes a suitably robust impression, while it's still unmistakably a Golf, but the differences are immediately apparent. The front and rear have both been restyled and fitted with bold fascias, bumpers with silver-colored skid plates in front and back. The Alltrack has a unique honeycomb grille, black enlarged wheel arches, and the silver matte flared side skirts. Following the principle never change a winning team, the Alltrack has the accustomed Golf interior. Reinhold wonders how much off-road a person needs. To judge by the sales figures for SUVs and all-wheel drive vehicles, it must be a lot. But why not? Modern all-wheel drive cars hardly take any more fuel, but offer greater safety and versatility. The new Golf Alltrack combines reliability and variability with very good off-road capabilities, but at a price. The base version costs a minimum of 30,000 euros. This is the new Audi A4. It won't hit the showroom floors till the end of the year, but Drive It has the exclusive opportunity to examine it in detail. Some of the elaborate innovations aren't immediately apparent. Take the drag coefficient of just 0.26 in the Avant. To achieve that low value, nips and tucks were made to the entire car. For example, the air intakes at the front. Audi project manager Victor Oliveros Merida says the extra-wide S-line bumper would normally be an aerodynamic disadvantage, but the new Audi A4 has this air curtain that deflects the wind into this hole, and the outflows go to the wheels.
Das ist ein Loch und auf jeden Fall die Anstromung geht in die Räder.
The side mirrors also affect wind resistance. These 3 bumps are small, but they have a big effect. The man from Audi says these 3 ribs break up any turbulence that develops. That's not only an aerodynamic advantage, but also an acoustic one. And so it makes sense to order acoustic glass for the windows. That will make the interior as quiet as in an A8. Like most new cars, the new A4 weighs less than its predecessor, up to 120 kilograms less. 15 have been cut from the body. New technology has made the engine lighter and more fuel efficient. The lighter weight has lowered CO2 emissions to between 100 and 129 grams per kilometer. But if you want a hybrid or electric version, tough luck. The new A4 comes in 3 gasoline-powered versions and 4 diesels, putting out up to 200 kilowatts. Another engine envisioned for it burns natural gas, but it won't be on the market for another year. The innovations in the interior are more noticeable. Our car tester, Matis Kurat, is fascinated by all the Audi A4's technical gadgetry. The press of a button toggles the completely digital instrument cluster between round instruments showing just the essentials and smaller round instruments with a lot more room for additional information. There are touch sensors on the switches for the air conditioning. As soon as you touch the switch, you're shown all the options. And Matis particularly likes the fact that the ambient interior lighting can be adjusted in a wide range of steps, from purple through blue, green, yellow, and red to a completely neutral white. Behind the rear hatch is 505 liters of baggage space, 15 liters more than in the predecessor. Along with the station wagon, the A4 also comes as a sedan. Except for the rear, they're the same, and a casual observer might mistake them for their predecessor. So what is really new about the A4? The Audi spokesman says everything is new. A new platform, new hood, new headlights. Everything's new, except maybe a few bolts on the wheels. The A4 will first meet the public in September at the IAA International Motor Show in Frankfurt. Then we'll see whether it attracts buyers even without alternative engines. Matis really likes how the new A4 looks, and he can't wait to take it for a test drive. The Spider is the purest among Porsche's Boxster models. Switching from steel to aluminum for the doors and hoods and losing the radio and AC has helped shave 30 kilograms off compared with the Boxster GTS. The powerhouse is a 276 kilowatt aspirated engine. The Spider starts at 80,000 euros in Germany. Volvo is rolling out a cross-country version of the V60. This robust station wagon has 6.5 centimeters more clearance than the base model V60, placing it on par with an SUV. Adding to the off-road character are front and rear skid plates and beefy flared wheel arches. Our car tester André Zimmermann didn't initially like the Opel Adam, but now he's used to its design. When he heard there was going to be a sport version, he was curious. Would a small car like this have what it takes? Today we're going to find out whether the developers have succeeded. Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the sportiest of them all? With the Adam, that's obviously the S version. Opel has already sold over 125,000 Adams. The S variant is now meant for those who are looking for a sports car in the A segment. The engineers have reworked the body accordingly. Andre says, mission accomplished. The Adam S drives sportily and the steering is tighter and offers more feedback than in the regular Adam. The heart of the Sport Adam is nevertheless the 1.4-liter Ecotec turbo engine with variable valve control. It produces 110 kilowatts. That's enough to push the 1.2 tons to 100 kilometers per hour in 8.5 seconds. Our car tester thinks some people will say the Adam S doesn't accelerate fast enough and is underpowered. But specifications are one thing, and the driving experience another. And it seems the driving experience is a euphoric one for Andre. He moves through turns at high speed, keeping a tight grip on the steering wheel, always ready to engage one of the 6 gears. In combination with the optional 18-inch rims, the 225mm wide tires transmit the performance directly onto the street. The brake calipers of the Adam S deserve their red finish. They were developed by the Opel Performance Center team. Small spoiler lips next to the air ducts also underline the athletic character of this fun vehicle. The rear features a spoiler and a diffuser. Andre is impressed with the engine. It screams when you step on the gas and revs smoothly up to 6,000 RPM. On the inside are specially designed dashboard inlays, providing a real sports car feel. The instruments have a carbon look, and an S logo is of course a must. Our test car also features blue leather embellishments in various places. You can invest up to €2,010 in extras for the seats. The Adam S is a real speedster, says Andre. To keep your grip in a curve, definitely opt for one thing from the accessory list, the Recaro sports seats. They offer great side support when needed. In urban traffic, these seats aren't too uncomfortable either. The Adam S manages the balancing act between city car and speedster excellently, but you generally buy the S variant for the latter rather than to have a car that's easy to park while shopping. This spoiler isn't for pushing a shopping cart around, says Andre. The Adam S is a real sports car with high fun potential. Unfortunately, there are always some drawbacks. Curving around at high speed obviously can't keep the specified average fuel consumption at 5.9 liters. That will put you closer to 7 or 8 liters. And the price could be too high for most people who just want to have fun. You have to pay at least €18,690 to get the go-kart feeling with the lightning bolt on the radiator. Our car tester tells us about the new facelift of the Toyota Auris. There have been upgrades to the exterior design, the engines, and the driver assistance systems. Her test car has a 1.6-liter diesel engine, which has replaced the 2-liter version. She's going to show us exactly what the new Auris has to offer. Since 2009, the Auris has been available as a hybrid alongside the 2 conventional models. Toyota has improved all 3 engine types and has made the standard engines more efficient by decreasing their size. This model consumes on average around 4 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers, with carbon dioxide emissions of 104 grams per kilometer. The new Auris will come onto the market in September. The prices aren't set yet, but will be based on previous versions. Ines says the new 1.6 diesel version's high power and torque give it a very fast feel. She finds the steering wheel really fits your hands, and changing manually between the 6 gears is very smooth and comfortable. Toyota has given the exterior new flowing lines. The silver trim sweeps elegantly from one headlight to the other. The back of the car is more angular. Toyota works in several sites to meet the desires of their different European customers. Thomas Heidbrink works for Toyota. He tells us about its development and research center in Brussels and its design center in France. The Auris is manufactured in the UK in hybrid and conventional models. Thomas notes that this is a European product made for Europe and even is imported to Asia. The station wagon and 5-door hatchback models look the same from the front, but have their own distinct rear design. We're trying out the assistance systems at this test site in Brussels. It's worth testing the emergency functions beforehand for your own peace of mind. Ines is testing the pre-collision system, which is designed to prevent fender benders when driving in the city. She's going at 30 kilometers per hour towards an obstacle, and she's going to pretend she's not paying attention. The system applies the brakes to stop her crashing. And this braking system works even if your foot is still on the accelerator. Our tester finds it strange relying on the system and also thinks the noises and abrupt braking are a bit unnerving. But once you know that it works and you trust it, she thinks it's really a comforting and useful feature. The technology for this system is fitted around the rear mirror. The Auris collects the necessary information using a camera and a laser sensor. These are also used for the full beam assistant and the lane departure warning system. It also recognizes traffic signs and communicates them to the driver. Ines says the car's thin pillars have improved visibility and thus safety. Toyota has spruced up the interior as well. The display in the central console now resembles a tablet and can be operated via touchscreen. Ines is impressed all around with the new Toyota Auris. She likes the design of the 3D rear lights and the assistance systems, which you can add on for €550 in Germany. She thinks they'll make everyday city driving much safer. The arrival of the BMW 1500 in 1961 marked the start of a new era for the Bavarian carmaker. Classic car expert Christoph Bauer takes us on a trip back in time. He says that BMW was in crisis in the early 1950s and was even in danger of being taken over by arch-rival Mercedes. That's because, apart from motorbikes, BMW produced just two kinds of vehicles, small cars and luxury sedans, or, as Der Spiegel magazine put it, cars for laborers and CEOs. So the 1500 was aimed at the middle classes. It was the first of what became known as BMW's New Class. To make the new class palatable to the middle classes, BMW used just the right ingredients. To make it practical, the 1500 had 4 doors. Its 4-cylinder engine was thrifty but still delivered 80 horsepower. And at a price of 8,500 Deutschmarks, it made many a family man's mouth water. Christoph says the BMW 1500 made its debut at the Frankfurt Motor Show in 1961. It thrilled the crowds, and around 2,000 orders were taken then and there. But BMW took its time putting the model into series production. When the Association of the Automotive Industry threatened to penalize BMW, it took 35 pre-production models, put them on the assembly line for another model, and got some mechanics to look like they were tinkering around with the car. Then they said, "Look, Mr. Inspector, we're building it." And it worked. Which was a good thing, as with the new class, BMW was one of the first European car makers to venture into new automotive terrain. The modern four-cylinder engine used in the 1500 would be fitted into other BMW models for the next 25 years. The 1500 came to define what BMW stood for as a brand. Christoph says the car looks small and refined from the outside, but inside it's quite spacious, which was by no means a given for a car of its class in the 1960s. But Christoph says it's a matter of geometry. Experts know that a cube boasts more volume than a sphere with the same surface area, and BMW's head designer Wilhelm Hofmeister used this to his advantage. He defined the basic features of BMW's design language, including the famous Hofmeister kink the firm still uses today. The characteristic kidney radiator grille was the only homage to BMW's glorious past. Otherwise, the 1500 broke with tradition completely. The car's delicate and almost rectangular roof lets in plenty of light. The sharp angles and side seams were a novelty at the time, but continue to add verve to automotive design to this day. The foam upholstery in the middle of the steering wheel was an early concession to passive safety, just like the sunken instruments, which don't reflect in the windshield. The new class offered drivers and passengers lots of room in a relatively small space. And Christoph says the 1500's four-cylinder power plant is the stuff of legend. It has a cast-iron engine block with an aluminum cylinder head, an overhead camshaft, and a forged crankshaft. Its engineering wrote automotive history. In the 1980s, some BMW design engineers took a couple of these engines with a service life of over 100,000 kilometers, fitted them with a turbocharger, and sent them onto the Formula One circuits of this world, with as much as 1,300 horsepower under the hood. It sounds absurd, but it was enough to win the 1983 Formula One World Championships. This modest-looking engine ranks among the most legendary in the history of motorsport. Never in his wildest dreams could developer Alexander von Falkenhausen have imagined that his innovation would end up writing Formula One history. With the help of the M10 engine, Nelson Piquet took the 1983 Drivers' Championship. His Brabham BMW is still considered to be one of the most powerful ever seen in Formula One. The four-speed transmission shifts crisply and the suspension is well tuned. In the early 60s, the BMW 1500 even gave Porsches a run for their money. Christoph says it might not sound like much today, but at the time, eking 80 horsepower out of four cylinders was like declaring war on the competition. Porsche's base model 356 had just 60 horsepower. The 1500 was called a sprinter in a tux, and Christoph thinks that's an apt description. He says this 1.5-liter engine is very responsive, but at 4,500 RPMs it's pretty loud and sounds a little labored. But BMW already had improvements in the works. Later new class models, like the BMW 2000 Ti with up to 2 liters of cubic capacity and 130 horsepower, helped drivers such as Hubert Hahne write touring car history. BMW produced the model range for a decade, selling over 360,000 vehicles. Christoph says there's no question that as the first mid-size BMW of the post-war era, the new class wrote automotive history and almost single-handedly saved the company from bankruptcy. Even today, folks at BMW are proud of this car's most important feature, how fun it is to drive. So Christoph says the BMW 1500 is definitely a milestone in automotive history. You could say that the BMW 1500 filled a gap left by the Borgward Isabella. Its modern design was inspired by the American Chevrolet Corvair and numerous Italian models. But in its day, the BMW 1500 was pretty much in a class all its own.